So in this video, I'm going to give you an introduction to Arctic Shores, explaining what it is, which companies use it, and then also going over how the rest of this series on Arctic Shores is going to look like. So first of all, what is Arctic Shores? Well, Arctic Shores is an online testing that a lot of companies use, and it's a specific type of online testing. So you have different types of online testing. The type a lot of companies use is just sort of a question-based one. So that is where they'll have questions on verbal and non-verbal reasoning, spotting patterns, spatial awareness, and basically you just have to get a bunch of questions right, and if you're in the highest percentile, however much they want to progress to the next round, you'll get through. So that's one type where it's just a questions one. Then another type is situational judgment, where they'll give you situational judgment questions, you have to get through that. And then there's other ones like numerical questions that you have to do, or replying to text messages questions, but this is neither of those. What this is a game-based assessment, and what that means is you can get 8 mini games that don't really seem related to your job. So it'll be a sort of mini game where you have to click the screen at the right times, or a mini game where you have to fill up the energy in a bar. They don't seem related to the job. However, what Arctic Shores is doing as you do these game-based assessments is it's basically monitoring every single tiny thing you do. So if you click 0.1 second later, it's going to think your reactions are worse. Or if you do a certain thing, it's going to assess that you're not as likely to want to work in a team, you're more likely to want to work on your own. It can test things like emotional recognition, test things like how motivated you are by reward, how likely you are to take risks, how likely you are to think about something methodically rather than just sort of using intuition and making it up. So through all these mini games, it can basically assess all different criteria about your personality, and basically can use that to tell the company, we think this person's the personality you want, let's progress them to the next stage. And there are a lot of companies these days that use it, so it's actually quite useful to know about Arctic Shores and the games that you're going to be put in, because there are a lot of companies these days that use Arctic Shores, and chances are one of the ones you want to apply to will be Arctic Shores, and you're going to come across them. So let me just go through the list for you of companies that currently use Arctic Shores. Now, this isn't exhaustive. There's definitely going to be more companies that use it, but this is just a few just to give you a taste. And there's 2 Big 4 companies in here as well. So that's something to be aware of if you're interested in finance. So PwC, KPMG, HSBC, Coca-Cola, Tesco, RBS, WSP, Walmart, AIRBUS, Siemens, Arcadis, Visa, Network Rail, and Amy. So that's just a taster of some of the companies that use Arctic Shores. It's a lot of companies. So now that you know what Arctic Shores is, I'm just going to give you an overview of the rest of the series that I'm going to be releasing over the next few weeks about Arctic Shores. This is a sort of episode 0, you could call it. It's just an introduction, introducing everyone to Arctic Shores. The next one I'm going to be releasing is episode 1. Now this is going to be the full guide on Arctic Shores. I'm going to go through each of the mini games that you're going to get assessed on, explain the strategy, explain the skills that are tested. So basically when you go into Arctic Shores, you're going to know exactly what games that you are doing, you're going to be prepared, and then you're going to know how to do them with the best strategy in order to show off your skills and increase your chances of getting through to the assessment centre. So that's one you definitely want to watch. That'll be the full guide on Arctic Shores. Well, in this video, episode 2, I'm going to be giving you the definitive answer on how to crack the safe from Arctic Shores. So stay tuned for that one, because that's one that everybody struggles on. I'm going to give you the definitive answer to that, how to crack the safe, the final challenge of Arctic Shores. Now, episode 3, I'm going to go into my reports. So I've actually done Arctic Shores 3 times, and I'm going to go through all my reports, analysing my results to basically show you what Arctic Shores looks for, and so that you know how to optimise your game plan in these mini games so you can increase your chance of getting through to the next round. So that's going to be a really good one, so you can work out exactly what you need to do, because you know what Arctic Shores are looking for. And the final one is going to be a guide to practicing for Arctic Shores. So that's another thing that people commonly ask about Arctic Shores is, can I get a practice, how to get a practice? And the problem is you can't get a practice. Arctic Shores aren't just going to give out the product that they've made to everyone, because it wouldn't really work like that. But I've found a way to practice Arctic shores. So in that video, I'm going to give you a guide to practicing for Arctic shores. So that would definitely be really useful, and I definitely recommend checking that one out so that you can be ready for when your real Arctic shores assessment comes along. Now that moves me on nicely to basically the final tip I wanted to give in this video, just so I could give you some value in this video about how to approach the Arctic shores application process, and it is to do with practicing again. So I read out all the companies to you earlier in the video that use Arctic shores. My advice here, this is the best advice I can give, is apply to multiple companies from Arctic shores, okay? So what do I mean by that? So say for example, the apprenticeship you really want is KPMG, okay? That's the one you want the most, right? You don't want to just apply for KPMG, because then when you get through to the Arctic Shores online testing, you're going to do the KPMG Arctic Shores and it's going to be the first time you do it, right? And if it's the first time you do it, you're not going to be familiar with it, you're not going to know what's going on, it's not going to be your best outcome. So you don't really want to be doing your dream, ideal, like the apprenticeship you really want. You don't want to be doing that for the first time. It's same with interviews, for example. You don't want your first ever interview to be with the company you want. For example, the first ever interview I did for anything, it was just a part-time job on Saturday and Sunday, and I was nervous. Okay, so I was shaking, I really didn't know what I was saying. But because I'd had that first interview experience, it was sort of practice for the future. So then when I started having apprenticeship interviews, it meant that because I'd had that practice, I was better at interviews. And then the first few apprenticeship companies didn't really matter to me. I just sort of applied because I'd applied. So when I was doing those interviews, they were practice for basically when I got to the ones I really wanted. By that time, I basically mastered how to do an interview because I'd had so much practice. So that's basically how you want to do it. It's the same with Arctic Shores. If you want just a certain one like KPMG, don't just apply for KPMG. I'd recommend you apply for other ones on the list like PwC, HSBC, RBS, Coca-Cola, whatever, just so that you can get progressed to the online testing in those ones and potentially before KPMG. So you could then let's do a practice Arctic Shores on HSBC, practice Arctic Shores on RBS, and then once you've practiced it twice, you can then do the one you want. You do KPMG online testing with Arctic Shores. You've already done it twice, you absolutely ace it, you smash it because you've had 2 times practice, and then you get the apprenticeship you want. So you see what I'm saying with that strategy, you don't want to just do that company. So that's the tip I want to leave you with in this video, is basically I want you to apply to multiple Arctic Shores companies. I'll put them back on screen again for you. These are the companies which use Arctic Shores, so have a good look at these. Now I hope this video has been a good introduction to Arctic Shores, so you know more about it, and also you know that strategy of applying to multiple Arctic Shores companies. And also hope it's given you an overview of the series that is to come. If you're interested in this series continuing and you want me to upload those future videos, leave a like on this video and that will show me that you're interested in dropping those Arctic Shores videos. If you're interested in more videos on the channel, subscribe so you don't miss a video, and thanks for watching.